All right, we are calling a special emergency session of this podcast because there is some activity going on in the skies all over the U.S., and we need to talk about this. Dave hit me up yesterday and was like, hey, man, let's see if we can get General Holt on and talk about it. And thankfully, he's one of the wonderful resources that we have right here in North Idaho, and he's in person here in studio. If you're watching the video, he has to have his face blurred out due to a contract with Newsmax. That's what it is for now. We're not trying to hide anything. So thank you, sir. We have with us retired Air Force Brigadier General Blaine Holt. Always a pleasure to have you in studio.
Oh, it's great to be back. I'm just so happy that you called.
Yeah, and good timing. And we got in here right away. We're going to get this to our editor ASAP, so it hopefully will be out Monday, Tuesday.
I was so excited because I think last time we talked, I'm like, man, I want to have him back on. I need a reason.
Yes.
And I have a reason.
That was a really fun conversation.
This is really good.
If you haven't seen that, go back a few episodes, watch that podcast. It was super informative.
It was a good setup for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, right? We talked a lot about geopolitics and some things I did not know about. And here we are. So what's the scoop? Let's dive right in. I've been seeing some wild stories all over X lately about these UAPs, drones, whatever they are, cruising all over the East Coast and now apparently other places as well.
Yeah, no, this is exactly right. So let's do a quick overview. In the military, we have a very important acronym that you start any document with when you write a memo, and that's called BLUF. And it's not you're bluffing somebody, it's the words stand for bottom line up front. So the bottom line up front on this, the BLUF, is if we look at this from 100,000 feet, yeah, we'll get into the drones, but what you're seeing is President Biden, who promised, air quotes, a smooth transition, has gone on the opposite of that tack. So this outgoing administration's strategy is now clear. Put as much chaos out there in every single lane you possibly can to load up President Trump and his administration on day one. That they are just creating dumpster fire after dumpster fire after dumpster fire. And this new drone controversy, which really isn't very original, if you think about it, you got the 1932 radio show by Orson Welles, War of the Worlds, where everybody's racing around going, oh my gosh, there's UFOs everywhere.
People were like thinking that the world was ending.
Legitimately, yeah, on that radio show. That's right. That's wild.
Okay.
Some people lost their lives. Some people took their lives.
Right.
So not so the case this time because I don't think you can do anything in the nation anymore that really surprises anybody. I mean, if we have panda bears land in parachutes with laser beams coming out of their eyeballs, I think people are going to go, well, we're not sure that they're from China, but look on the bright side. And that's kind of where we're at because we've been so slapped around since got going. So let's now dive down to the altitude of the drones. So between 200 and 700 feet is what we see. We're seeing drones that are being seen mostly concentrated in the eastern seaboard that are RV size, car size. And
big ass drone.
That is a very large drone. And they've got loiter time. Jeff Van Drew, he's House of Representatives. He's representative of the state of New Jersey. He was in the paper taking a bold step, saying, "I've got senior sources that say these things are from Iran and that they're being launched off of a mothership off the coast." And right away when I heard that, I went, "Oh man, brother Jeff, somebody set you up." I mean, information warfare. Hooligans are everywhere, right. And I could see them, we'll just take his credibility away from him as soon as he publishes this. Now, I'm kind of putting myself in reverse gear going, Jeff, maybe the man of wisdom. And what I mean by that is you've got everybody putting all these theories into play, right? So one of the theories was, no, this is our government. They're doing this, and they have to be clandestine because they're looking for a terrorist's nuclear weapon. It's
right.
A dirty bomb. I
just heard that one today.
Yeah, I sure did. So let me ask you this. Do we only look for dirty weapons at night?
Right. And you'll probably get to this, but why are the drones lit up? Do they need to have lights? That's odd.
So I've really pondered that one for a while because then you have the drone sympathizers, we have now a group of drone sympathizers.
Of course. Drone rights.
Yeah, drone.
LGBTQD.
We're on Facebook today arguing with somebody who's like, do not shoot down my drone. I'm like, nobody cares about your drone.
Drones' lives matter.
This is different. I completely see it. I'm already derailed, though.
If you shoot down my drone, you're a fascist.
Yes.
Just understand that. So what we have here is the drone sympathizer category. They're like, well, it's not that we should get so worried about them because, after all, they're avoiding Bedminster, where President Trump's place is, and they're putting on their lights, and so they're complying with FAA regulations by putting on their lights. And how nice of them! Why would a determined adversary who was conducting espionage missions on us, which I think is one of the missions, why would they have their lights on? Well, they want airliners to avoid their drones. They don't want to get hit. So have your position lights on, because then if an aircraft sees you, they'll avoid you. So there is that. But they're not benign. They have been overflying military installations, Picatinny Arsenal, Lakehurst, New Jersey. We do a lot of advanced concepts in air vehicles there. And on and on. Fort Stewart got a bunch today up in New York, and then down in, I guess, Charleston. We're up to 12 states now that have apparently a new disease or a malady called the drones. So it's like, dude, you've got the drones.
I imagine there's how do you filter out the unverified reports? I think a lot of people are seeing planes on approach, like normal commercial airliners on approach. And if you're looking from I'm talking to an Air Force general. What am I telling you about planes?
It's okay.
They can look like they're hovering. Yeah. Caught myself there. But anyway, I think a lot of
the pilots get on airplanes now, and I'm like, you dudes are way too young to be flying. Please tell me you've got a license, like for a car.
So anyway, how do you decipher that? Like, are some of these sightings not verified?
I mean, just like anything, when you get a hysteria in the public, and I think we're there, you're going to have a lot of people that will be like, yeah, I saw one just the other day. It was a drone. It was at about 8 feet level and size of a softball, and then it had a glowing orb all around it. And you're gonna see all that. I can't tell you how many people who have said, General, we've got an Operation Blue Beam going on, which is the so-called technology that'll generate a hologram up there. So, maybe John Kirby's not lying. Maybe they're all just generated. I doubt it, though. Anyway, we now know we've had some accidents. There's been some crashes. My concern is that we don't know what are on the drones. At night, they may just be taking pictures of bases. That's bad enough and warrants shooting them down and getting rid of them. And if they have a mothership, impound the ship, sink the ship, put the crew at Gitmo. Who cares? But do something that's in the interest of the Constitution and our security. But Northcom saying we don't have responsibility for UASs up and down the seaboard. Well, what do you have responsibility for? Because if that's how you're going to spend our $1 trillion of security money, gosh, give it to New Jersey and let them defend themselves.
Right.
They could also have dispersal agents on board. How do we know they're not dropping aerosols? How do we know chem bio agents aren't coming out?
Right.
So there's a lot of concern. I had the same concerns when that stupid red Chinese balloon was going and visiting nuclear installations.
Right.
So we don't know, and if you don't know, you got to treat it as an adversary. The safe bet is what President Trump said, which is shoot them down. Go, and if you think the United States military is not capable of that, you're just kidding yourself.
Yeah, well, what would be the preferred method of doing that?
So the preferred method of doing that is to tag them over the water, make sure that they're not over heavily populated areas, and then go tag them. I guess the mayor in New Jersey said that he wants to treat all of these sites as hazmat material sites if you come up on a drone wreckage point. That makes sense to me because some accounts of just folks, civilians with their own drones, large size, have gone up to try to take a look at these things, and their batteries are drained immediately and they come crashing to the earth. So do they have EMP capability against other aircraft? Are there ways that they can defend themselves? I don't know. I know one thing. The federal government is not talking to the state government. We have talked, me and my folks, we've talked to New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, senior law enforcement folks who have clearances, folks who are in the know, and they said the most eerie thing about this whole thing is not the drones. The most eerie thing is the silence from the federal government to us.
So
Are you saying the federal government is incompetent, sir?
So here's
no,
where
I'm saying they're malevolent.
Even worse.
Yeah.
So here's where you threw me off, because when you said, hey, you know, the peaceful transition, and you brought up Biden, then I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a whole nother thing I didn't think about. But, you know, I was talking to him earlier, is that nobody freaks out when they see a plane anymore. Nobody freaks out when they see a satellite. Now, if you take that back 60 years from now, if there's a satellite up there, it's for sure espionage. It's for sure doing something bad.
Right.
Now it's just the internet.
Yeah,
right? There's no worry about that. So my thought was, is there ever a time where something like this can be completely benign, but used to desensitize and normalize what is happening, so that there's future, right? There is a script.
Yeah.
But it's not something necessarily right now. If you put these up for a year and people see this all the time and they're benign and nothing bad happens, then you can sneak something in.
So let's run that trail a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. And could this be a predictive programming effort on the government's part to just make us not worry about stuff? Well, I think that ship has sailed based on sourcing that I have and based on what Van Drew came up. But there is a test drone corridor there between Lakehurst and Picatinny Arsenal up in the north. So could the government have said, yeah, we know there's a lot of drones. You're going to see a ton of them. We're testing some advanced equipment in the corridor that's between these two installations. Nothing to see here. They could have done that right away.
Right.
But then you would have gotten to the boiling frog thing, where it's like, yeah, we're fine. It's just those test drones we've all been told about. And then all of a sudden, you've got the panda bears landing laser beams. Everybody's upset.
Yeah.
So,
What can we talk about? What the structure of these things? I've seen so many different stories. Are we talking quadcopters? I mean, I've seen some that look like shimmering orbs. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I mean, it looks. Who knows? You can't believe anything you see on video
Every
anymore,
single
right?
thing I see with my own two eyes on the internet, I now have to go, I don't know if that's real.
Right.
I don't know if that's real. I just saw this well-done deepfake AI of Jill Biden sitting next to President Trump at Notre Dame Cathedral, and the two broke out into a fight. And
That's
smashing
awesome.
each other's faces up. And I was like, that looks way too real.
Can you send that to us? I
will
would
send
love
that
to
to
see
you.
that. That is phenomenal.
It looks way too real. So now let's look at the orb or the blue beam garbage. I don't know. I'm going to leave that open as a page. What I do know is we have enough here to know that our government's lying to us. We know that. We have enough here that we understand our security is not being taken seriously or looked after. That's a violation of Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution. And we understand that our military is not raising hell, and the senior leaders are not raising hell. That's not good. That's absolutely not good. So my question would be, well, what will it take for a 4-star general to say, I resign my commission, I'm not going to be a party to this?
Right.
Are we really going to put the FAA and Pete Buttigieg in charge of the nation's security? And is he really going to just say, they're taking some pictures, it's not that big a deal? So now let's get back to the dumpster fire pre-inauguration track. The Chinese, the Iranians, whoever it is, shows up, they're going to put some drones out there. Does this play into the idea that the administration would like to see just an ever-increasing spiral of crises that they load into President Trump's hands? Isn't this the same team that's trying to rip reverse gear out of World War III by giving $10 billion to the Iranians 2 days after Election Day, $40 million to those sweethearts of democracy called HTS in Syria? What about Ukraine? Allowing Ukraine to just launch missiles anywhere they want with long-term stuff that they have to have our help with?
Do you think since Hunter Biden's been pardoned by the end of the year, maybe this is him?
It's probably all Hunter, and if they have man drones, I'm going to say he's flying.
He's
100% it's Hunter, dude.
Just cruising up there, yeah.
Cocaine and strippers and UAVs. Yeah, that's awesome.
They all go together. You know they do.
Okay, so I had a couple questions. So now, you said something like, oh, the government's lying to us. Mm-hmm. Now, you've obviously been in a high level of government, and you know that there's times, I'm sure, where there's information you can't give to the public.
Yeah, senior, not high.
Senior.
That's what they're doing now.
Got it. All right, I get the context. So you were in a position in the government where obviously we could sit here and ask you a ton of questions. You would not be able to answer them.
That's true.
Okay. Now, maybe you wouldn't lie to us, but you would withhold information because that's important, and that's national security. Mm-hmm. Could this be one of those things? Is there a scenario where this is something that the government is doing something and they can't tell us?
Let's play that.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Kirby AKA Pinocchio, is there and telling us, no, New Jersey forgot what airliners look like, and that's what's going on here. Gotcha. So that's what's happening. Okay, lie. No, New Jersey knows what an airliner looks like. Thanks, though. And then he comes back next week and says, well, for the good of the public and not to alarm anybody, we were using our test corridor to test our anti-hypersonics weaponry of this new drone that we got from the aliens that they gave us through high-end technology. And here, have an orb.
There's your
Come
permits.
on. So the thing is,
an orb.
this last 4 years, this administration has thrown their credibility overboard on every lie from Kabul to now. So what if they started telling the truth? I don't know if anybody'd even believe them. So what if they said, hey, yeah, we've got an Iranian ship off the coast. We're trying to downplay it because we don't know if weapons of mass destruction are involved. We're trying to find out what's going on. We're engaging behind the scenes. We don't need mass panic in the public, but you should now know that we're actively working this. And maybe they go that track. For us, what we will do is we, the people, will go, you didn't think you could tell us immediately that we needed to run and get some potassium iodide pills, masks, find a bunker. You didn't think that we needed to go do those things. We'll just lock you up.
So, and the biggest contrast between the balloon, what was that, like 2 years, like 3 years ago now, right? That was a while ago.
Yeah, like the corners of my mind.
So the big difference that I'm seeing from the outside, from like the balloon, is that the balloon was immediately identified as, oh, this is not ours, this is Chinese, whatever else. We tried to shoot one down. There was all this stuff, right? Yeah. There was a story that came along with it, which leads me, I am a firm believer that I don't see the government, maybe I'm wrong, allowing a bunch of Iranian drones to come over onto our land. And I just don't see that happening, which makes me start to lean back and be like, all right, this is our people, right? Sure. This makes more sense for it to be us.
So a senior Air Force officer, I don't want to go deeper than that. I'll just tell you that he's very operationally qualified.
Got it.
At the cutting edge of what we do. He's got credibility with every single airman. So they're foreign. They're foreign. Wouldn't go further than that. But he said they're foreign, and we're very frustrated here. Okay, got it. That's good. Of this, I can believe. If I could have that 3 or 4 more times, I'd verify it. I'd throw it on Newsmax every single day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
But that's the Bubba network that I sit in my Air Force life, and I'm very glad to know that there are good people that are going to be ready to speak out when they feel like they can. I think that what you're going to find is when President Trump convenes this warrior board, we are going to really eliminate a lot of people. And those people are the ones that hang the woke DEI crap around their necks. They're the ones that never resign when we do something stupid like Kabul. They're going to be gone. And then you're going to have these iron colonels that are going to rise. And they've seen all this Marxist garbage. And they're going to speak out. And when they speak out, those things are going to generate evidence. And you're right. If an Iranian drone is flying over the United States, there is only one answer to that. And if you don't do the right thing, well, now you're the problem.
Yeah.
And so we need to take this stuff very concerning. Now, wait a minute. We're so focused on drones. Could there possibly be another shoe to drop?
Yes. We just had a magician in here. That came out of his mouth.
That card
up there. It was very uncomfortable in here. I didn't know. I was like checking my pockets the whole time. I wasn't sure he was going to hide something in my pants. So, But no, I get it. There's
I've
one
got a
hand
whole
doing one thing.
conspiracy hid right up my sleeve right here. I just haven't pulled it out yet.
But you're blowing me away with this. When you say, I mean, I don't know if I can ask you this. Do you think these are legitimately foreign drones?
Yes.
Does Iran have the capability of that?
Yes.
Okay.
And so did the Chinese.
I figured they did.
So you should look at some of the pictures taken of these drones by John Q. Citizen.
Yeah.
And then look up the drone, the Chinese drone CH-10, the CH-10.
Is it a quadcopter type?
No, it's fixed wing.
Is it the one vertical takeoff and landing?
It'll rotate.
It'll rotate. Okay, yeah.
So it's as big as a RV. It's got a lot of loiter time. And could it launch off of somebody's container ship? Of course they could. They do all kinds of stuff with their container ships in China. That's not containering.
Right.
They do all kinds of.
When you say mothership, you're not necessarily talking about a military ship. That that makes way more sense. Okay.
No, cargo ship. All they have to do is turn off their transponder and their AIS. We can go find them.
Yeah. Let me see, Dave. What you got?
Look at that.
Okay. So that, I saw some pictures.
Airplane helicopter.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an airplane helicopter, man. They had a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's crazy. So
amazing.
Wow. So I see how
and
it works.
those are weapons capable if they want.
Of course.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like a prop plane, but they can just rotate
it's like our
the props.
Osprey, but it's a robot.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I saw a video that came out yesterday. I think it was Phoenix. Pretty clear video. Woman on a cell phone. You can hear her talking. Seems pretty realistic. And you can see this. Two drones. One is like an orange orb, kind of hovering, and then you see this green one, and it zips over pretty fast. I can't say abnormally fast, but maybe. And it kind of cruises around this orange one, and then something happens. Orange one literally falls from the sky.
Right.
What the hell was that?
So what that could have been, I don't know because I don't have the data, but what it could have been is orange light is a civilian drone. And the one that was flying next to it is a adversary drone. And then if the civilian drone got too close and the adversary drone hit it with a pulse, a beam, an EMP shot, then it's going straight down. And we have seen that. We've had reports of that. The other part that I think is extremely important is ham radio operators in New Jersey have tried to intercept the frequencies these things are operating at. They're not operating at any frequency, which means they're communicating in an electromagnetic way. So,
bro, we just hit Star Wars. This is a galaxy far, far away.
We're on
I'm losing it.
Let's go.
That's right. And we still haven't even talked about the next shoe to drop.
Wait, tell me more. Electromagnetic communication, is that a thing currently, or is that a theory? That's a theory. That's a real thing.
It was a thing back in 1980, but now we know about it.
Yeah, so. Right.
EMF frequencies. So different frequency sets that aren't in the normal band structure that we normally use.
Does the U.S. military have that capability?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yep, we can intercept that stuff. We have stuff that can, without weapons, take these things down.
Okay.
So there's no doubt that the government, the U.S. government, knows who these belong to and how they're communicating and everything else. They have the answers.
The case.
And they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
Well, who knows?
Is it a thumb twiddle, or is it, are they playing cards? You don't know.
One of the few.
Yeah.
Wow. Do we do anything similar to this in other countries where we have UAVs and stuff like that over other countries?
Not that we have any evidence of.
Ours fire missiles
that I can see.
Just blow them up.
Because part of this is a PSYOP, part of this is an information op.
Yeah.
We're getting into people's heads. Do we do that with other stuff? We do it in a different way. I can't talk about that, but we do it in a different way. And I won't make up some story. I'll just tell you, I can't tell you that.
Right. No, we get that. But that's what's really getting me is the fact that you could, I know there's drones all over the place. I know that there's satellites that can look at us and everything else, and we don't know about it. So the fact, that's why I talked about you talking about two different cards being played at the same time, and the desensitizing is because why are you allowing us to see it? I mean, it's so obvious, right, that these things are there. Why is that the case when they could operate in silence, clandestine, nobody would know that they're there, and they could still do the same thing? There's got to be a reason why they're making it available for the general public to see.
Let's try a theory. It's up for a test, and it may not be true. This is going to be in the speculation garden, but let's just see if we're plausible.
Okay.
Let's say that we have many senior leaders in the government that are co-opted and compromised by members of a foreign country, either Iran, China. Let's just say that Iran and China have the goods in a blackmail sense on senior leaders. Let's just say that. But that's not true that we know of, but let's just say, for the sake of conversation, that it is. Okay. If that's so, and it's at the most senior levels, what if the Chinese, if they were the ones doing the extorting or the blackmailing, called up and said, so here's the thing, we're going to have a boat, and it's going to be near you, and you might detect it. We don't care. You're going to do nothing about the boat. And then we're going to put some drones up, and we're going to go take a look at some things before Trump gets to be elected, and we're going to go take some pictures. And you're going to let that happen, too. They'll turn on their lights so you don't hit them with your stupid airliners and that kind of stuff. But we're going to be flying around, and it's going to get everybody really upset. You can make up any damn story you want except for the one that is true, which is we're going to go on a couple of sightseeing trips around the eastern seaboard and some other states. And you're going to do that, and you're not going to say anything about it. And you'll give that whole entire mission to Pete Buttigieg, who's just going to sit there and say, I don't see anything.
What's in
Is
it
that
for,
plausible?
What's in it for them that's allowing that to happen?
So were they paid money? Let's go back to Hunter's laptop.
God dang, Hunter.
Was Hunter paid a bunch of money by the CEFC? Is the CEFC, Chinese Energy Corporation, by the way, I know them, is the CEFC an element of power of the CCP of China? Yes, they are, absolutely. So if millions of dollars transferred to the Biden family, are they compromised? Well, that can only be determined in a court of law. I would say circumstantially that's the case. If that's the case, do we have any evidence that implies that this has happened before? Wait, red balloon over the entire country. Don't shoot it down until the end. So do we have compromised figures? Wait a minute. Didn't we just give $10 billion to Iran? Why would we do that? If we're such good friends of Israel, why would we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's my circumstantial evidence. I'm not going to reach any conclusions because I'm a responsible person.
Is it? I don't want to believe that it's possible that the president can have that much power and people around him who would obviously see what was going on wouldn't be able to do anything or say anything.
Well, wait a minute. What if elements of the swamp, which I'll call the Uniparty because I am so post GOP versus Dems. I'm just going to personally let you know.
Yeah.
I see everything in terms of we the people, meaning rest of the country, versus the swamp. That's how I see politics. And we've seen lots of open source reporting. I'm not going to tell you that it's related to this, but we've seen lots of open source reporting that there are brothels, there are all kinds of honey traps all over D.C., and if somebody can catch you in a weak moment with a camera, well, you're cooked.
Yeah.
And you might be compromised. So are there others? Yeah. I'm going to guess there are.
How deep does the swamp go? Because if he runs for mayor of Coeur d'Alene, does that make him part of the swamp?
If Seth runs for mayor of Coeur d'Alene, I will say publicly I'm endorsing him.
Oh,
yes. Let's go.
See how I did that?
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
I'm in.
Thanks, Dave. I don't know if I'm mayor material, but appreciate that.
And the reason I would endorse him is because I know he's not a swamp rat.
No.
Not at all.
No.
God, this is crazy.
So is there any chance that these are aliens? I got to ask that.
And I'm going to give you a qualified 0% chance.
Okay. All right.
Although I think if they could have spun that fable up and somebody would have jumped on it, they would have gone. They would have.
Yeah.
If they're looking for what the public will take the bait on. So it's blue beam.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Okay, it's blue beam, but how many people think it's blue beam? Oh, 100 million people think it's blue beam. Okay, we're going with that. It's blue beam. So that's how they run their own psyops.
If they didn't have lights on it, the alien thing might be more plausible. I refuse to believe someone would fly across the galaxy or universe and then land here and have lights on there. That seemed to match our lights, right?
Full disclosure, I've been having fun all day putting out AI art, which I do, to all my friends showing TIE fighters wrecked on interstates.
That's awesome.
This is so good.
Yeah, it's just good fun. I also have a T-shirt that I made that's it's really a beautiful graphic with a drone on it, and it says New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and then it says the International Drone Invitational Fly-In 2024.
Oh my gosh. We need to see some of this.
Yeah.
I want to see the TIE fighter.
I'll pull it right up.
The thing is, it's so funny because you talk about, like, even you, when you see stuff, you have to go, well, is this real or not? You have to source it. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do.
That's right.
Obviously, you have a lot more access to information than we do. But I just got asked this today. They're like, do you believe we landed on the moon? And I'm like, look, man, I have an argument for and against, and honestly, I could care less because it changes my life zero.
That's right.
It really does. I went to NASA, and I saw the Saturn rocket, and I'm like, that's badass. And then I left. I went home, and I don't care.
The only question from my childhood that never got answered appropriately, and I'm still upset about it, is how many licks to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right?
We never did. We never followed that up.
That was
different.
a big deal in my childhood as well. I mean, I remember that commercial clearly. Okay. So is there any potential truth to what I've been hearing, that I've seen this argument that these drones are out scrubbing for a rogue nuclear weapon that has made its way into the U.S. on the East Coast, and they are hunting it?
If that's true, if that is true, then I'm going to be one of the most angry Americans out there. Because if you want to look for a nuclear weapon, I expect you to do it 24/7, 365. And the drones are only flying at night. So you're only looking for nuclear weapons at night? No. I want to see black vans all over the streets of everything. I want to see helicopters nonstop. Right. I want to see the 4th Infantry Division in L.A. combing, looking through shoeboxes for nukes. Do I see any of that?
Right.
No, I don't. So what I'm going to tell you is no.
Can they do that with drones? I imagine they could, right?
Yeah,
They
I mean, you
could
could put sniffers on drones and go. The idea that we couldn't go find radiological material is ridiculous.
Right.
We have that technology. If there's an isotope festival going on in this nation someplace, we're going to find it.
That's a great way to put it. Isotope Festival.
Isotope Festival.
I don't want to go to that festival.
You should not, but if you do, wear a hazmat suit.
Okay, good to know.
Get a mask and take some of those cool potassium iodide tablets, 130 milligrams.
Oh my gosh.
Popping pills at the Isotope Festival.
It's a razor.
Oh my gosh. So where do you see us? Like, I mean, obviously drones have become a thing, right? When we were kids, I'm not saying they weren't out there, because honestly, I always feel like we're 20 to 40 years behind in technology.
Sure.
And there's a reason for that. And he was all excited. He found out that I read a book, cool. Rogue Warrior by Richard Marcinko.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. Great book, right? And he basically describes a cell phone he has in his sock.
Yeah.
In the book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, it's 19. I'm like, looking, I'm like, that's Vietnam War.
Yeah.
I didn't get my cell phone until 2001, and it definitely didn't fit in my sock.
That's right.
And so, you know, we're obviously behind. There's multiple reasons for that. One is you can't jump too quick, because there's levels where you can make money, right? Look at Apple. I mean, I'm sure they have more technology.
Some of this has something to do with money? That's interesting.
Obviously, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a slow step to technology progress and disseminating it to the people, because there's a money aspect to it.
Sure.
How do we commercialize this technology? But at the same time, also, obviously, there's certain things that we have to keep under wraps, because that's a national security risk.
Whoa. Are you saying this isn't a marketing scheme to sell drones? Is that what this is?
No,
DJI.
I'm not getting to that.
DJI. Great idea.
But what I'm saying is that they would never have marketed drones years ago, because there was a use for them, and now that they've been able to commercialize it, they do it. But we're in 5 years, 10 years, I mean, you watch how fast technology is being released to the public, and now we have this. We have literally vans flying above the U.S. That falls out of the sky. That causes a problem.
Yeah.
Your drone falls out, hits me on the head. I'm probably going to the hospital, but I'm probably not dead.
Yeah.
Where does this go from here? Like, where are we in 5-10 years commercially? And I mean, what are we expecting to see in the skies?
It's a good question. So there's 3 tracks that you need to monitor, because they're starting to conflate. They're starting to fuse together.
Okay.
One is robotics. The drones fit into that bucket. One is artificial intelligence. These drones, my source again tells me that these are flying mostly autonomous, mostly just doing their own thing. So that should make you feel good. And then the third rail is quantum computing. And when quantum, robotics, and AI come together, well, that's going to be a different world, and I'm not sure it's a safe world. I think we've seen a movie about this. It's called Terminator, and it's Skynet. And so,
that was a great movie, though.
And
Schwarzenegger's still, he's still doing fine.
Let me bang the drum. Yeah. Let me bang the drum for something we're doing here locally. Here in Coeur d'Alene, we've got our own little drone company called X-Craft Drones. Huh. And they won Shark Tank once upon a time. But X-Craft is the American replacement to DJI. DJI is a Chinese espionage firm, which is an element. Huh. Yes, born right
Is that a subset of Standcraft? Are they wood? Are they wood drones? Gotta be beautiful.
That'd be heavy as shit.
That's beautiful wood drones.
No, we actually here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, we are on the cutting edge of drone technology.
See?
Full disclosure, I'm on their board.
Awesome. Yes.
But I love that little company, and there's some use cases in drones. This is the good applications, not the Chinese come and slime you application. But the good application is we're looking at everything from campus security, artificial intelligence link-ups, all good stuff. So what I don't want to see happen is there be a freak-out fest on drones, And then you get some yahoo in Congress who stands up and goes, well, we got to do something about these drones, just like guns, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, just get rid of the drones because drones kill people. It's like, no, actually, the drones don't kill people.
Right.
They do good stuff, too. So, again, these things are tools. They're becoming very advanced, to your point. We're on the edge of that here, and we understand how good that technology can be. Right. So that's basically it in a nutshell. But you will find in the politics in D.C., it's just like the Salem witch trials. Burn all the drones. What? Yeah, no, kill them all. Get rid of every single drone. If you find a drone, if there's a drone hiding around the corner, you got to go kill it.
Which isn't the answer, obviously.
The answer is let the military loose and say you have a mission. Go kill that threat to the United States.
Right.
Don't care what it is. You just go eliminate the threat and let the uniforms do what the uniforms do. Keep the kids in the academic circles like Sullivan and Blinken who play with toy soldiers. I swear to God they do in their offices. Keep them away from that stuff and just let the Iron Colonels do what Iron Colonels do.
Yeah. Understanding that you identified the swamp, do you think this type of activity will continue into the Trump presidency?
No.
That's nice.
Will we get to the Trump presidency?
There's the trick. See, now you're talking. Now let's get to
Come on, man. I got like
the other
30
shoe?
days.
Let's talk about the other shoe.
Oh, you're killing me.
Now let's go to the other shoe. I want to remind you, like I did in the last episode that we did together, that there are millions of fighting-age men walking amongst us, some here in the panhandle of northern Idaho. And they're not all well-intended, and they are not all wanting to be Americans. In fact, some of them are waiting for activation orders from their parent country. They hail from every terror cell on the planet. Some of them hail from our official military units with the People's Liberation Army of China, GRU, Russia, IRGC, Iran, and they're here. So
they're into everything.
They're into everything. So what happens in this smooth transition, we'll call it the period of chaos, endless chaos, on the way to Inauguration Day, if they just go ahead and activate all those cells? What happens if they hit major cities and they take all that UN money on that bank card, because the EBT bank cards that they're fighting up in Sandpoint, they got $13,000 on them. So what happens when they just turn the money off? What do you think they do? Well, they're just going to come get our stuff. What does that create? That creates a lot of civil unrest and strife. Is that the precursor to, establishing crazy talk like martial law? The thing is, what we're seeing and what we have seen since Election Day is nothing but an endless series globally of dumpster fires. Right. And I am watching the macroeconomics and financial collapse. I'm watching them getting crazy about pandemics again.
Is the Bitcoin going to fail? Because I don't have anything in that.
There's no way Bitcoin going to fail.
Damn it.
You have too many whales.
To crash like I'm buying one.
I'll tell you what. This is not financial advice, and I'm not prepared to give you financial advice, nor am I qualified to, but I really like XRP.
So I have some XRP.
See? Wifey bought some last
I have some XRP, but it's all sitting in a wallet that I have to go in my safe and figure out the 37-digit code.
So what? Don't touch it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Just buy more.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know how to get in there.
So
I bought it for like
in the afternoon,
23 cents.
In the afternoon when you're kind of bored and you've had lunch and you don't know what to do, buy XRP. When you haven't put your shoes yet on in the morning, have you bought the XRP yet? You're going to go see the kids game.
Buy some more.
Buy some more XRP.
Yeah. She's going to buy it right now.
Here's why I like XRP. Here's why I like it. Because the CEO had been invited to the World Economic Forum the last 3 times, and they had been there to make a speech and all this stuff. The SEC has now cleared the deck on their lawsuit with them.
Right. Ripple had that for a long time.
Jamie Dimon at Chase has said, hey, if you're a Chase customer and you want to pay us for your credit card in XRP or your mortgage, you can do that. So what do I see? I see guys that I would traditionally band up and say, these are the bad guys. Well, fine. The bad guys are going to go make money. So it's just like that ETF that tracks what Nancy Pelosi does in the market. Why fight the tidal wave?
Just follow Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
Good
she's
Lord.
been very successful.
Yeah, and we hope that hip surgery.
So listen, we got 30 days or so till inauguration. What is it, the 15th? We got 35 days?
It's the 20th.
Yeah, so 35 days.
Okay.
We got a cruise that we're going on in March.
2 hours, 3 minutes.
Oh.
I'd really like to make our cruise in March.
to make the cruise.
Okay, March 1st, we're out of here.
Stay together.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll make
that'd
your
be...
cruise.
Huh?
I'm optimistic you'll make your cruise.
I think it will.
But what I will say is just, like roller coasters when they're just going up the hill. It's kind of boring. It's a boring ride. And then snap, they go down. And now you're going upside down. Now you're twisted. Now you're all up. This is what we're doing right now. So it's going to get nuts. I think we're gonna get really upset, more so on the way to Inauguration Day, and then I think it's gonna.
We got at least 10 more minutes of this. You guys have to continue. I gotta pee. I won't wash my hands. I'll be right back.
He's probably gonna go soon. Honestly,
That's awesome.
Yeah. What is your? I can't believe you have to pee that bad. That's hilarious. You need to pee.
That was on camera, by the way.
I know, and it's gonna stay there too. We'll keep it in there. Dave, I need to get Dave a little Gatorade
That's
bottle.
called the editing of shame.
Yeah. this little tiny mouth water bottle would probably be suitable.
Yeah, this
for Dave.
water was brought to you by.
Yeah.
What
do you tell somebody? Okay, what do you tell somebody that is like freaking out right now? Because I had the compulsion today. I'm like, what could I do to prepare myself any better?
Sure.
You know what I mean? I have some guns. I have some food. Like, what do I do?
Well, the first question you need to ask yourself is, where do I live? And what's my neighborhood like in my community?
Yeah.
And are these people that I can trust in a very bad situation? And if they're not, it's now time to develop Plan B. And if you live in a highly populated area like a Philadelphia, New York City, or something like that, you need to have a Plan B anyway.
Right.
So bug out location. Do you have a friend that lives in a less populated area in the country where you could go, dude, I need to be there for 2 weeks minimum. Let me just pitch a tent on your property, worst case scenario. If that's what it comes down to, you need to develop that plan right now. You need to develop that plan. Can you put away a little food? Can you put away a little money? Yes, you can. Go do it now. Go do it now.
Okay. How's North Idaho stack up?
North Idaho stacks up really well. We've got ksrg.org, our resiliency group.
Check that out.
And we absolutely push resiliency, but people up here take that rather seriously.
Yep.
I think the one thing that I want to stress that in the Panhandle here that we could work on a little bit more is our community and our neighbors. We need to understand that if you do have a mess, hard times, grid goes down, water goes down, whatever it is, you're gonna be successful by your neighborhood and your community. You might be able to go Lone Ranger for a couple of weeks, but it won't be that way forever.
No, it's not a viable option.
No,
right?
it's not a viable. It's never a viable option.
So, by the way, if you're looking to move to North Idaho, Dave and I got you covered. That's where we went with that.
Yeah.
And I give free geopolitical advice to anyone who moves to North Idaho.
There you go. Easy to find you in the coffee shop.
We hired a friend of ours, and she's been telling us, she's like, you guys have to tell people
You know
sell
her,
real estate.
actually.
Yeah.
Kara.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was like, you have to tell people you sell real estate. We're like, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
She's like, make sure people know. All right,
awesome.
so there we go.
She
Thank
is
you,
awesome.
Kara.
Another member of KSRG.
Yes, she is
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Been fantastic. Man, any other last thoughts? I know you gotta get going to a radio.
Yeah.
thing.
So in what we have to do as Americans is we've got to stick together. We've got to be optimistic. We've got to understand there's threats all around us right now. They are historic level threats, and they go beyond our shores. That those wars overseas that you see could find their way onto Main Street in a heartbeat because of what's happened. But we are going to make it to Inauguration Day. President Trump is going to be the president, and his very fine team that he is putting into play right now is going to come to pass, and we're going to do some amazing things. There will be mass deportations. There will be a correction of getting our finances back in order. We are going to tell the world we're not going to be their policemen. We are going to tell NATO we're not paying for all of this, and you're not going to be an offensive alliance. You're going to be a defensive alliance. So there's massive opportunities coming down the pipe, XRP. And what I think is that if everybody can just kind of batten down the hatches, keep your head on a swivel,
Right.
be prepared right now, way better days are ahead, and we will see them through, and it'll be great.
Awesome.
This is pretty cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming out.
Always love being here.
I know you got to get going. We're gonna keep this regular because you are an excellent source of information. I'm super excited to have you here in North Idaho.
Watch Newsmax.
Watch Newsmax. That's where you'll find him, and you can see his face on Newsmax. There's that.
That's
too.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. My face is. It's
And he's
not
bald, if
pretty
you
to
have
look
any-
at. But it's not a very good benefit. But what I will tell you is that is where my video shows.
He's bald too. There's very little hair in here.
No, very
right now.
little. Yeah.
No, it's super cool having you, Blaine. Honestly, this is really neat because I think there's a fascination with end times, and there's a fascination with all the movies. It's like there's people that are literally waiting for war worlds or whatever it is. Even Ninja Turtles. There's people out there still hoping those things happen, right?
Yeah.
Cool. There's a lot of that. I do like the fact that Trump seems to be assembling. I think it was compared to the Avengers.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
That's right.
super cool. And by no means do I think that he is the savior, the best guy in the world, anything else. But I think that more than others. He has the best interest of America in
Do you know
mind.
what? God picks the flawed. If you
Yeah.
read the Bible, then God picks the flawed.
Yeah.
So David, Solomon, these are not sterling examples of Boy Scouts. So Samson, very flawed people.
Yeah.
But God works through them, and I think that that's what's happening here. It is fun with Scripture and eschatology with prophecy. I'll have people that I'm on the air with, and they're believers, and one of them just called me right before we went on the air.
Yeah.
And so when that whole thing went down, I didn't send, hey, what are you tracking in Syria? Hey, what is going on? I just wrote to my friend and I said, Isaiah 17:1. And then he wrote me back immediately. He went, what's happening to Damascus?
I love it.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, General Holt. Always a pleasure. We'll catch you next time.
Pleasure is mine. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks.